Friends, here we are, another one of our Friday community classes. I try to get these up every single Friday here on the YouTubes, talking about a bunch of different stuff, from plant spirit work to neo-paganism to sorcery and a bunch of other stuff in between. So this week we're going to go out into the weeds a little bit. I want to address a question that I've been getting a lot of lately. I've always gotten this question actually, but recently a lot more. It's very on my radar, so I figured I would do a little video. And that question is about how to learn. How to learn plant spirit work, how to learn herbalism, how to learn, pagan spirituality, like all the cool stuff we talk about, right? And this is an interesting question to me for one reason. And that reason is that we live in the age of information, right? That when we have a question, we are a keyboard away from a plethora of information, a plethora of answers, instant gratification. And so people have access to blogs and YouTube channels and websites and online courses and Wikipedia and Scribed and all of that, but there is still something missing. There's still folks doing all the study, doing all the research, experimenting, trying, embodying, and still walking away feeling like something is missing. And I think that something is human connection, right? We're not the kinds of animals that thrive in a vacuum, even those of us who really value being alone and are introverted by nature. There's still a need for a human connection. And when we look at traditional ways of learning, the sorcerous arts, the non-ordinary crafts, we find time and time again this practice of sacred apprenticeship, that no one was expected to learn everything on their own, and that the idea was that when someone was called to or interested in a particular path, especially these very powerful and also very delicate workings that we do, it was understood that they would take shelter of somebody who was already engaged in the work and, hopefully do their own research and their own study, because you never want to be the person that only has one teacher's voice in your head, right? Especially in the modern day, that's very dangerous. So you want to do your own research and all of that, but have somebody to kind of be a guide, help correct things, help inspire you, help answer questions, help you figure stuff out when you're getting stuck in your own head. And all of that is very practical, right? Those are things that are just helpful when we learn anything new, no matter what kind of learner you are. But there's a deeper aspect to this, and it's something that within the Indo-European traditions that have exist now. So we look at ways that various Indo-European cultural expressions exist in the here and now, particularly those of India. We see this idea of sampradaya, of disciplic succession, that by learning from someone who knows something more than you, right, who knows it better than you do right now, and who is embodying it to the best of their ability, you're not just having somebody coach you or teach you or guide you. You are actually plugging into a stream of living wisdom, a stream of mystery that gives you an additional inspiration that might not be there if you were trying to do everything yourself. So we see this expressed in India with the guru-chela relationship, that the teacher is not only giving direct instruction and information and guidance and a sounding board to their student, they're also giving a bit of themselves. They're also passing themselves on to that student so that that student can then further the work, take it one step further than the teacher did, right? We should always be thinking that way, that whatever we do, we should be pushing things further, right? Never spinning our tires. And we see this also, really heavily in a lot of the cunning and witchcraft traditions throughout island and continental Europe, where folks would the village wise woman or wort cunner or peller or whatever would maybe take on a few students and apprentices, and in those times probably they would live together and do everything together, and so it was very immersive. Now that's usually not how it works. I personally would never want anybody to be in that situation with me, because I would drive them crazy. So small doses, right? But this idea that all the study, all the memorizing, all the experimenting is one side of the equation, that the other side is that aspect of sacred apprenticeship that I think is super important. And I think that for anybody who has access to someone they respect, someone that's doing even a semblance of what they want to do, even if that person is only doing it a little better than you, or has been doing it a little longer than you, latch onto that. Like, there's no reason for us to waste our energy reinventing the wheel. We should practice good energy ecology. And the other thing is that a lot of the people who are doing these kinds of workings, this type of work, whether it's community herbalism or deeper plant spirit work, or they're trying to embody ancient pagan practices in the modern world, like whatever it is, those folks are often in need of support, right? They need folks to help them, to be there with them. And I'm not talking about financial support. I'm not talking about transactional stuff at all. Like, I mean, literally just having people by their side to help them continue to do the work that they're trying to do, strength in numbers. So when you show up for a teacher like that, you're helping them do what they want to do by you participating in it. And at the same time you're learning, you're getting this hands-on learning, which is really important. We should mention that not everybody has access to somebody. That was my case. I am very much a self-taught kind of person. I spent 25 years reading every book, taking every workshop, before internet and after internet, doing everything I could to soak all of this up, and really had to kind of pound the clay the hard way. If I knew in my early 20s what I know now, 20 years later, I would have invested myself in a slightly different way, because I think that I wasted a lot of time and kind of chased my tail a bit. But I was also in a situation where I didn't have as much access to teachers as people who might be in bigger cities or around more established groups or whatever. So, get what you can get right now. A couple of mentors that I'm working with, we haven't even ever met in person. Our relationship is on email, sometimes through phone, sometimes over Zoom, but it's still there, and it still gives me an opportunity to sit with somebody who knows a hell of a lot more than I do and has been doing this longer and has established relationships with their allies that go deeper than my own currently. So they're passing on what they know to me, I'm passing on to whoever I'm teaching, and beyond that there are an infinite number of people before them, and so you really are tapping into the stream. So the point of all of this is that if you've been taking all the classes, reading all the books, and you still feel like something's missing, you still feel a lack of confidence, you still feel this is a big one, like insecure or invalid, like a lot of stuff, but you still don't feel like it's yours to embody when it is like appropriate for you and culturally relevant and not co-opted and all of that. Of course, it could be that you just need a sounding board. You just need to find somebody who can go there with you and give you some guidance. And it seems really simple and kind of dumb, but it's really important. And I think the fact that we've overlooked this in this age of information has left a lot of people feeling like they've only got one foot in the world when really they're there. They just need somebody to help them refine, or they just need somebody to give them permission or to help them build confidence. Or, the one thing that I feel like I can do for people, because I'm fortunate enough to have a working apothecary, is I can put them in situations that help them gain confidence. I can say, you've learned all of this stuff, you know all of this stuff. Now, let me create a space for you where you can put it to work, where you can actually serve our community with it, where you can see how it feels to talk about it and do it, and let it flow through you intuitively. So that's oftentimes all I feel like I can do for people, but it's valuable, and that experience takes people further into their work than they might think is possible, and faster too. So if you're in a situation where you are distanced from working groups or from classes and teachers or whatever, soak it up where you can get it. Soak it up how you can afford to get it. Soak it up, with what works for who you are as a person. But don't hesitate to try to make personal connections. Hunt people down on Discord, on Reddit, on Instagram, and reach out. Most of the people I know that teach are super excited when people are super excited, right? And it might take them time to get back to you, but they will. And oftentimes the week or 2 or 3 that you're waiting for a response and you're feeling like you got ghosted, that person's actually holding you. They're thinking about your questions, and they're aware that they need to get back to you. And there is some kind of blessing that comes through that. So apprenticeship is beautiful in whatever form it takes. Many traditional cultures across the planet have their own forms of what apprenticeship looks like, what mentorship looks like, and that's sacred to those groups. I'm talking about just general, for those of us having kind of mixed cultural experiences while staying in our own lane. There are these just base things we can do, which is, don't force yourself to be alone if you don't want to be alone. Find the community, go to the classes if you can in person, reach out to people. Even some of the most sort of pop, authors and teachers out there that I've been able to interact with, respond to emails, right? We kind of assume that if somebody writes a book that gets really, really popular, we're going to end up going through three gates to get to them, but it's often not the case. So don't assume that they won't be. And you may encounter people that just blow you off or don't show up for you in the way you need, and that's cool. People are busy, people have stuff going on. Don't take it personally. It's not about you. But try somebody else. So again, I just want to bring up that people feel a little bit of a hole in their spirit, even with all the study and the classes and the courses. And I just want to validate that and acknowledge it and see it, because it's real. I've experienced it. I hear people talk about it all the time, that they're checking all the boxes, they're doing all the things, but something doesn't feel quite right, or they're having a hard time getting it out of their head and into their hands. And I think the answer is to find human people, whether it's peers or teachers or whatever, in whatever tradition you practice, whatever cultural or ethnic tradition you practice, or whatever school of herbalism you follow. Find the people that are doing what you want to do and bug the hell out of them until they give you what you want, right? Fight club them, right? You go sit on the porch and wait until they let you in. So with that, I will send you off with blessings. Hopefully you have a beautiful week coming ahead. If you have any questions, send me a note or drop a comment. And special thanks to the folks supporting my work on Patreon, who make all of these classes possible, but also get to enjoy our monthly advanced classes and our courses where new lessons come out every single Monday, and all kinds of other random goodies that we share. So if you're interested, there's a link down in the details below. And until next week, take care.